This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. In this episode of the DeREZD podcast, we're going to be talking about Xbox One sales, PlayStation 4 rentals, and some new game announcements. All this and more on DeREZD episode 7. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the DeREZD podcast, episode number 7. I say good evening because there's people watching us do this live, but this could be like bright and early in the morning. This could be your morning commute audio, so good morning to people. Or you could be in Australia, and it could be good future to you.
I like that one.
This is the DeREZD podcast. Episode number 7 is always, I'm your host, and joining me as always, my lovable co-host, Will Kelly. Will, how you doing?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Got over a small cold, feeling better, ready to play some games this weekend. Got lots of awesome things to put in my various game systems. I'm pretty stoked. Well, you got something going on too. Like I think it's like you got this new solitaire game you're playing on your phone or something.
Yeah, it's solitaire. It's called Solitaire TF. Like stands for like Titanfall. It's a high intensity version of solitaire.
That is a really weird tie-in.
It is. Hey, you brought it up. I just went with it.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying Microsoft. Like, why would you do that, Microsoft? I don't understand your marketing. But what are you gonna do?
All the cards are like the burn cards in the game, and so it actually makes sense that way.
Totally,
and they're just capitalizing.
Sense. Okay, I apologize, Microsoft. You're genius, or maybe it's just Will is the genius in this case.
Well, they should hire me.
They should hire this guy. Cool. Well, yeah. What else is new with you besides the whole falling of Titans?
I don't know if it's the Titanfall or if I caught something watching your Twitch streams, but I also got sick this week. So you're getting off your sickness. I'm just getting on mine, and which is a real bummer because all I want to do is play Titanfall, and that's not good for your health if you're not feeling well.
That is no good. See, I was sick during the week, so I was sick at work and hating my life. It's like, oh, I just want to be sleeping. But now I have the whole weekend to play games where it's going to be reversed. You were feeling fine and Titanfall in until 3 a.m, and then now it's the weekend and you're like, oh, I don't want to nap, but I got to nap.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kind of strange the way that works sometimes.
Such is life.
Cool. Well, what do you say we get into the show, man?
Let's do it. Got a good show ahead of everyone.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about. Last week's show was a little bit late getting out. I was super tardy in getting the podcasts out just because of I would basically go home and sleep, except for when the hockey game was on, and then I'd watch the hockey game with one eye open and then pass out in my chair and then wake up 3 hours later to go to bed. So my apologies for that one being so late. This one will be out a lot earlier than that one was. But for that reason, we don't have any feedback from any of the listeners, but that's cool. If you guys want to send in your feedback, you can do that very easily. Our email address is vgpodcasts@gmail.com. Or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505-VG-Podcasts. Or follow us on Twitter. Ping us on Twitter. I'm at DazMe on Twitter. Will, you're on Twitter as well?
Yep, I am at iLiam.
And if you want to play with us, our tags on the various services, I'm at DazMe, I'm just DazMe on PlayStation. If you want to play with me on the PS4 or the PlayStation 3.
And I will put mine in the forum because mine is way too hard to try to explain on a podcast.
There's special characters and accents and
spaces,
Cyrillic characters and all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
Apparently, William is a popular name to use on Xbox Live.
Nice,
No,
nice,
just kidding.
nice. Awesome. Well, let's hopefully we'll hear from you guys. Let us know what you think of the show, and let us know what games you'd like to see us play and stream. Will started streaming on the VG Podcasts stream, and what we're going to try to do is get something up every single night. It didn't happen this week for obvious reasons, but we're going to try going forward to have stuff on the stream pretty much every day of the week. So if you want to check out something and you're bored and need something to do, you can just head on over to vgpodcast.com/live or twitch.tv/vgpod.
Yes, and you should come watch us play the joys of of video games.
Yeah,
unless you want to play.
Exactly. But the cool thing is you could join, say if you have an Xbox One and you're playing Titanfall, you could play against Will and then embarrass him live on the stream.
And I'm sure that would happen.
Yeah.
I would love to see that as long as it was one of our listeners.
I was watching one of your videos today. You're actually really good. You're like sniping people out of the middle of the air. Like you both are jumping in the air and you're like turning around and headshotting them. And it's like, okay, well, I'm kind of glad I don't have this game now. So Will can't embarrass me.
I gotta admit, I don't know if my sickness is a cold or if it's because I've been staying up every night until 2 playing Titanfall and screaming at the TV. That's why my voice sounds like this.
That could be that for sure. But yeah, we'd love to play with you guys. So follow us, shoot us an email, let us know what you think of the show, and we'll get to that when we get to it. All right, let's move on. I just want to do a quick shout out. We like to do quick shout outs every once in a while. So a Humble Bundle has a new bundle up this week that I thought would be of interest to people. It's their Humble weekly sale. So this is a 1 week thing. It ends in 5 days from when we're recording this. So by the time this episode gets up on the RSS feed, you'll probably only have a few days to check it out if you're interested. But this is the Humble weekly sale for Sega with a whole pile of games. If you buy the bundle for any dollar amount, you get Alpha Protocol, Company of Heroes, Rome Total War, and hell yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit, which I've never heard of nor played, so that one's pretty interesting. But if you pay $6, at least $6, you get Typing of the Dead Overkill, Binary Domain, Renegade Ops. You get the Sega Genesis collection that has 10 classic games, and Medieval 2 Total War. And then if you pay $15, you get Total War Shogun 2, which is, I guess, their newest DLC for that. So some pretty cool Sega games. I'm partial to the Genesis collection. I actually just picked that up for PS3 a little while ago. I haven't cracked it yet, but I'm going to get into that. Something about playing some of those old games is just a lot of fun. But some of the other ones are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great deal. I mean, I won it for the Sega Genesis bundle because we were talking pre-show. There's some fun old school games in there that we used to play.
Yeah, totally. Like there's, we were talking about, what is it, Comic Zone, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, there's Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe, Altered Beast, Shinobi, Vector Man, a whole bunch of cool games. So pretty cool collection if you have a Steam account, and you can check it out over at thehumblebundle.com/weekly. And it's on for 5 more days, so it'll be on until the 19th, probably just before the 20th, just before midnight on the 20th, I believe it ends. So check it out if you're interested in that type of stuff.
Cool.
All right, well, let's get into our main story of the week. This is our end of line for episode 7, the Goldeneye edition of this podcast. And our end of line this week is February NPDs came out, and it's not like all doom and gloom for the Xbox anymore. You don't get all the pundits saying Microsoft is doomed, they should stop making games, which is kind of funny because they said the same thing about the Nintendo Wii U, which is selling way less than even the Xbox One monthly, but people were just going crazy. But the Xbox One in February sold 258,000 units. And I believe what they're saying is they sold 90% of what the PlayStation 4 did. So the PlayStation 4 sold 300 and change or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty decent sales for February.
Yeah, it's not bad, especially this far into the launch. And it's nice to see. You would think at this point, I know there's still not as available as Xbox Ones, but PS4s are becoming more available on store shelves. So I feel like the playing field is a little bit more even now.
Hmm.
It's nice to see these numbers kind of evening out towards each other.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to do a quick browse through the rest of the article. They're talking about like game sales, something like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze caused the Wii U to sell 180% over February last year. So
Wow.
that's a fair chunk of Wii U's that are sold, which is always a good thing. But Tropical Freeze only sold 130,000 physical and digital copies in its first week, which is, I guess, not great, but not terrible. I picked up that game to play with the family, and it's way too hard to play with the kids. So that one's on the shelf right now. I'm gonna have to wait a little bit to get into that. I got some other games to finish off first.
Hey, I know it's kind of a sidetrack, but
Mhm.
how is it for you? Is it okay? I mean,
Oh
as
yeah,
far as difficulty goes?
yeah. I mean, it's tough. Like, there's
Uh-huh.
definitely some like you fall down the holes and fall into the pits and hit spikes, but it's not crazy difficult. It's way more difficult than say the latest Mario games that have come out, which was a little bit disappointing for me because I was really hoping this would be a good family game, and
Hmm.
turns out no. It'll be a game that I guess maybe my kids can watch me play. As much fun as that would be for them. But yeah, it's a little bit too difficult. Some other things, Bravely Default has posted sales of more than 200,000 units, which is really good because it's a JRPG, and there was a lot of people saying that JRPGs were dead and no one wants to play role playing games anymore. While this little unknown RPG, which is, I mean, it's a Square Enix game, but it's not a franchise. It's not Final Fantasy, even though it's kind of a spiritual successor to a Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game. Selling 200,000 units, pretty darn good, and that's not even in its first month. That's in its first 3 weeks. So I'm pretty excited to see that happen.
That's awesome because you either love JRPGs or you hate them.
Yeah, totally.
There's rarely an in between.
Yeah, exactly. And I, not to spoil when we get into what we've been playing, but I finally picked up Bravely Default. Well, I picked it up on launch day, but I didn't play it, and so I finally started playing it, and it is an amazing, amazing game. I'm having all sorts of fun with it. So
Nice.
I'm definitely glad that it sold a fair bit. 200,000 isn't anything to sneeze at, because that means that the sequels will maybe get localized and released here as well, which is a good thing.
Definitely.
Cool. So Xbox doing pretty good. Will, you must be pretty happy.
I am happy about that. I have some ideas about this, but I'm curious. Why do you think it's because things are just kind of like evening out, or do you think that they got this boom because of either the Titanfall bundle or before it was announced the beta that was released in February?
Yeah, I definitely think it's Titanfall related. I know a lot of people were waiting for Titanfall to pick it up, so they probably heard Microsoft announce the Titanfall bundle and decided to go out and pick it up,
Hmm.
or pick it up just before. And I one of my friends actually picked up an Xbox One about 3 weeks ago. I guess now maybe 4 weeks ago, but he returned it just before his 14-day return window at the shop that he picked it up at, because he heard that the Titanfall bundle was coming out. So he's going to return it and then pick up the Titanfall bundle so he could get Titanfall for free. So Titanfall is definitely a seller,
Hmm.
a system seller. As I was saying in the pre-show, I was at Walmart just the other day, and I think they had 14 Xbox Ones on the shelf that I saw. It was like 12 or 14. It was hard to tell because of where it was on. Like there was a lot of Xbox Ones, but only two of them were the Titanfall bundle. The rest were just the big green boxes. And no, they didn't have any PlayStation 4s. So it's still almost impossible to find a PlayStation 4 here in town, which is ridiculous. Sony really needs to get on that and release more of these consoles.
I don't even remember the last time I saw 14 last gen consoles on a shelf. I mean, they don't stock that many.
Yeah.
You can tell that's left over.
Yeah, they probably, I think they had a sale or something, because there was a whole bunch of the green box Xbox Ones just kind of sitting there, and then yeah, there was just two of the Titanfalls that were just sitting right beside them. So, yeah, or maybe there was just filler, maybe empty boxes behind, because it was glassed in, except for I think 6 of them were not glassed in. The rest were in the glass in shelves, so you could kind of see behind it, but maybe they weren't fully full boxes. But yeah, they had at least 6 that were I could have picked up and put in a cart and bought, because they were just sitting on the shelf with those stupid spider cables on them, that spider alarm things that they do at those places. So but yeah, only 2 of them were the Titanfall bundles. So I'm sure they would have had a lot more than 2, so they're probably selling pretty good there, which is a good thing for Microsoft.
It is. And honestly, I can't wait until next month's MPDs to see, with the actual launch of the game, what they did. They rumored, Sinister in the chat room mentions this, and I actually read this as well as a rumor that I think Boy Genius reports said that there's a rumor they sold 1 million Xbox Ones on Titanfall launch day. If that's true, that's a lot of Xbox Ones.
Wow.
That seems like a little too much to me, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that seems like a large number, but hey, who knows? That would be awesome. That would be really awesome for the market for sure.
Well, it would be nice. So Xbox has had a couple of great updates lately, that have really increased the functionality of the system. They have a awesome exclusive that has gotten just rave reviews across the board. It would be really good if they had at least a good month, maybe even a month where they surpass Sony in sales, just to calm the conversation a little bit, because I mean, you can't go a day without reading something about this console war, whether it be the ResGate with the Xbox One not being 1080p and everything else being 1080p, or sales numbers.
The resolution gate is definitely an accurate thing, and it's something that it requires people to talk about, because you're talking about a console that just launched that isn't as powerful as the other one, in a world where 4K TVs are now $2,000. That's really scary to a lot of people. For me, I don't think I'm going to be going past 1080p for 5 years, so I'll probably be getting a new TV when the next set of consoles come out. But I know a lot of videophiles that are like really worried that Microsoft won't be able to compete in a couple years once 4K games start coming out. But I mean, that's way down the road, so I mean, that shouldn't be impacting sales right now.
Yeah. Well, and it's my understanding that actually has to do with just familiarity with developing for the system. And of course, Microsoft's going to say that, but it seems like I've read that independently from different developers, having to do with the RAM in the system.
Yeah, it's a lot slower than PlayStation's RAM. The RAM itself is slower, and on the PlayStation, the RAM is closer to the main bus. So getting stuff in and out of memory, it's almost like you have an infinite amount of memory, because it's so quick to page things in and out. So you don't get a lot of the issues with the larger textures as you do on the Xbox. But that's going to be a learning curve. Just like when the PlayStation 3 came out, the cell processor was really hard to program for. There's 7 discrete logic units. There's all this other stuff going on. It's like, how do I divvy up all of my processes, or how do I divvy up this problem into multiple processes so it can be shared across this large CPU? And they eventually solved that, and then it looked better than the Xbox 360 after they were able to get that going. So maybe the Xbox One will be in the same boat.
What's interesting, I don't have, you could tell me because you're the PlayStation guy for the moment. There's so much multitasking with the One. I mean, it really does feel like it's a desktop computer sometimes running Windows 8. And that's really when I noticed that RAM and apps taking longer. They're not quite as snappy as I'd like them to be. I mean, it doesn't affect usability at all. But it's just kind of frustrating seeing something stutter when you're like, why can't it just be like silky smooth? But I don't know if the Sony or if the PlayStation has multitasking stuff like that.
It does. It doesn't have like picture in picture like the Xbox does. But at any time you can hit the PlayStation button and go to the main screen, the main menu, and browse through your stuff, look at your trophies, check your friend requests, send a message, go back to the game. So you can go back and forth. And the PlayStation 4 has a second CPU that handles just downloads. So if a patch is made available and starts downloading, it's being run on a separate CPU that basically just does that. So the really cool thing about the PlayStation 4 that the PlayStation 3 didn't have is if if you queued up a bunch of downloads on your PS3 and then went and played a game, you were fine unless the game somehow touched the internet. And then if it did, it would pause all those downloads. On the PlayStation 4, everything just runs in the background, and all the installs and the patching and all that stuff just runs in the background, just like it's not even touching the main CPU of the system, which is really cool. So you don't get a lot of that slowdown when there's big installs going on in the background. I was playing Killzone Shadowfall, which is the only time I've ever heard the fan come on in my system, was playing that game in some of the main firefights where it's just like crazy huge vistas and all this crazy stuff going on. The fan spins up. I can actually hear the fan, but an install was going on in the background, and it didn't slow down at all. Nothing got choppy or anything like that. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
That's really cool.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. And unless you have anything else to say about the Xbox catching up, do you want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's get into the news. The first big news item is just something that was kind of bizarre. Xbox Live went down on Titanfall's release date, and then Microsoft came out right away and said, but this isn't because of Titanfall. And it's just like, well, no, obviously it's because of Titanfall. It might not be the game itself causing it, but it's the number of people that are logging on. So maybe that lends credence to your rumor that they sold 1 million on Titanfall release day, because I know a lot of people that were basically, they bought the Titanfall bundle, they got home after work, they plugged it in, they got it all configured. They're like, Xbox, use a code, and they held up their code and they're like, yeah, we're going to download this. And then Xbox Live went down, the downloads wouldn't start, and they basically had a whole evening that was dead because they couldn't download the game. So it was probably all around the same time. The real cool thing was the fact that Titanfall itself was still up. If you were online and playing, it didn't seem like the game itself died, which was a really good thing.
Yeah, so I actually experienced this, and I completely agree with you. It's, again, Microsoft, we're not stupid. Don't try to play these games with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't quit playing games with my heart, Microsoft.
Yeah.
But it was really weird. So I got home. I left Tuesday morning, and I started the install or the download because I wanted it to be ready when I got home. So I came home. It was finished downloading. I booted up my Xbox, logged in, and I clicked play, and nothing happened on the game, on Titanfall. And that actually isn't abnormal for me. I have to hard reset my system once every couple weeks. I leave it on the standby mode.
Sure.
And so every once in a while, things just get kind of weird. And so I hard reset. So I'm like, whatever, no big deal. I hard reset it. And then when I did that, I couldn't sign into my Xbox Live. And that actually was the issue, is people couldn't sign in. I kid you not, Lloyd, and this is the most frustrating part of the evening for me, is every single one of my friends were online, except for me. And again, I was online when I first got home. So if I didn't reboot, if Titanfall would have worked, it wouldn't have affected me. And so, yeah. And then after 5 hours, it was back up, rebooted again, which was the fix.
Right.
But all these strange rumors were going around. People were saying, it was strange that it was affecting only certain people, and it would affect you if you rebooted your system. There's all these strange rumors going around about like someone on the back end accidentally deleting a folder or changing permissions on a folder that held all the user info, and
sure.
And I don't believe that. Yeah, but it was weird that they gave no reason whatsoever behind it.
Yeah. The only thing was basically right after it happened, like at 4 p.m., Larry Herb, Major Nelson from Xbox said, if you're having issues signing Xbox Live, we're aware of it and working on it. This is not a Titanfall issue. It's like, that was the only thing that they're stressing. They're not saying what it was. They weren't saying how to fix it, except after 5 hours later, they're like, you may need to reboot your Xbox. But it was just like, yep, it's not a Titanfall issue. It's like, wow, you're so focused on not tarnishing the reputation of this game, but your service is down for all the people. Like if everybody shut off their Xboxes and powered it back on, no one could log in because Xbox Live authentication was down. To me, what it screams of is just a network issue when you have a large number of people signing in for the first time, downloading the day one update if the consoles didn't already have it, if they bought, say, a green box or whatever, trying to download Titanfall digitally. Like this is all taxing their system in a way that it had never been taxed before. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have downloaded digital versions of games, but not like 100,000, 200,000 people all hitting download, all hitting Xbox use a code at once and downloading the 21 gig Titanfall ISO image, right? So they had to probably change the way that their network was provisioned, as far as where bandwidth can come for what processes and stuff like that. Took them a while. I'm glad that it's up and running, because that would, to me, that would suck. If I would have picked up one of those Xbox Titanfall bundles and brought it home and couldn't use it, I'd be really pissed off. And there were a lot of people online that were very angry. Thankfully, it was only a 5-hour thing, not a 2-week thing like when PlayStation Live or PlayStation Network went down. 5 hours can be handled. 5
hours is fine, and I agree with you. And we might be different because I think we may be a little more understanding than some people that, there's just certain things you can't help. But if they would have come out and said that, I would have been much happier about it. If as a consumer, when they leave you in the dark like that, it's just really frustrating because you have no idea and I don't need to know technical details. If they just came out and said, all these new people bought Xboxes and they're trying to set up their accounts and downloads, just give us some time. Cool. That's fine.
Yep.
One thing that it was the first time it ever became apparent to me, before when both consoles launched, actually, there's a lot of discussion about always on, requiring an internet connection. I really don't pay much attention to that because I live in a place where I have decent internet. Well, when I couldn't sign into my Xbox, everything short of watching standard television was shut out for me. I watch my Netflix, I watch Hulu, pretty much all of my TV through my Xbox, and I couldn't do that because they're all tied to your Xbox Live login. So if that was down, I couldn't watch those things, and that was really frustrating.
See, that's the weird thing because the system isn't supposed to be always online. They came back and they reversed their decision on that. Where if you didn't have a network connection, you can do whatever you want. But it turned out that was not the case. If you didn't have a network connection, you couldn't play certain games. I mean, it makes sense for Titanfall because it's an always online thing. But some people are having problems starting anything on their Xbox One if they couldn't sign in.
I guess I didn't try it because it wasn't worth the effort. But if you unplug your network, you could play games offline. Obviously not Titanfall again, but I almost thought about starting Forza up just to see how the racing would be with that without having drive avatars.
Right.
But I was lazy and fuming, and so I didn't really care.
Awesome. All right, cool. What do you say we move on?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, also having odd issues this week with Sony. Sony I believe it's Tuesday, updates their PlayStation Network store. And they did that this week, but halfway through, things weren't there that were supposed to be there, and some other things were showing up weird. I was repeatedly signed out from my web browser for like browsing of the store. Things just weren't working. It's really, really bizarre. And then PlayStation, some head came out and said, "Yeah, we had an issue with our PlayStation Store Publish. We're gonna fix it." Turns out that it's all fixed. It was fixed yesterday, so it took an extra day to get all the games up there. Some people bought Towerfall for $3 more because it was showing at $14.99, and if you had a PlayStation Plus, it was supposed to be $11.99 for the first week. It wasn't, so there's a lot of angry people because of that. But one kind of beneficial thing that popped up is it looks like some extra things were published to the store that shouldn't have or weren't meant to be published. There's a website called PSN Stores that kind of follows game publishing to the PlayStation Network and some other stuff. And they posted some screenshots of rentals that showed up on the PlayStation 4. So they looked at the PlayStation 4 version of Catherine. Well, actually, it's a PlayStation 3 version, but it's looking at it well on a PlayStation 4. Catherine was a game that came out like a year and a bit ago or whatever, and you could buy the full game, 9 gigs, for $10. But they also had listings right under that. So actually, let's step back. If you clicked on the thing instead of the normal purchase, like there's usually like buy this for $9.99, there was a button that said choose a version. And if you click that, it popped up a window. And that's when it said 9.3 gigabyte download version, $9.99, 1 day rental free, 7 day rental free, 14-day rental free. So when people went and actually clicked one of those rental things, it didn't work. But when they looked at their PlayStation Network, it's kind of like a journal of all the stuff that you have access to. It was called Catherine PS3 7-day rental P Now, which stands for PlayStation Now. So it looks like this was a premature publish of the PlayStation Now stuff that wasn't ready. Maybe it went early. Maybe it was supposed to be for the beta. Maybe a beta version of the store went up or something. But it kind of gave people a glimpse into what's going to be coming over the next few months. That you're not going to be able to. PlayStation Now isn't just going to be a service where you pay X number of dollars and get access to all this stuff every month, but you'll be able to actually individually rent some of these titles for a day, a week, a couple weeks at a time, which is kind of a neat idea for some games that I don't really want to own, but I wouldn't mind having it for a week to kind of beat it or whatever.
Yeah, did you also see that Gaikai actually leaked prices this week as well?
Yeah, there was an image that was found on the Gaikai website, the marketing website, about it showed some screenshots of games. One of them had a little blue arrow on it, which was the PlayStation Now arrow, where you could rent it. Other ones were just full price purchases. So I guess that's kind of the marketing stuff. Maybe it'll be the GDC. Maybe it'll be something that'll be shown off at E3. But it looks like Sony's getting close to saying, "Yep, yeah, this is a service. We're going to launch it." Now it just comes down to what is the price going to be. I mean, if they're selling Catherine for $10 to own it, one day rental should be 99 cents. Maybe a week rental would be $2.99, and a 14-day rental would be $4.99. I can't see being much more expensive than that.
Yeah, I can't either.
But a cool little thing that happened because of the network issues that PlayStation Network was going through with their publish this week. It's always kind of funny when things like that leak out. You know, there's some people high up at Sony that are just really pissed off right now. It's like, someone stole our thunder. We leaked it ourselves. How could we do that? Yeah. And hopefully no one lost their job over it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, let's move on to some more stuff that will be coming to your console this year, but purposefully, not leaked by accident on a publish. And that is the announcement that Costume Quest 2 and Gone Home are going to be coming to consoles this year. It was announced for PlayStation 4, but it is also going to be on the Xbox One, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So first, let's kind of look at these in two different things. Costume Quest. Did you like Costume Quest, Will?
Absolutely loved it.
It was pretty cool, wasn't it?
It's an awesome game. It was fun.
Yeah,
it's a cool little hand. Well, it didn't start out as handheld, but it's a cool RPG with an interesting story and fun art style.
Yeah, it was like it was one of the first Double Fine games that I played that I really just kind of loved, not realizing what it was. Like, it was like, oh, this sounds neat. Costume Quest. It's an RPG around Halloween. It's October. I'm gonna buy this. So picked it up when it first came out and really kind of fell in love with it. It was a lot of fun. So great news that Double Fine is going to be coming out with a sequel, Costume Quest 2, for current consoles. Looking forward to that. But even more exciting is Gone Home, which is a game that it got a lot of people's game of the year, even though it was just like a little downloadable adventure game, essentially. But that's going to be coming to the PlayStation 4 and I believe the Xbox One as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm super looking forward to playing this one, just because I haven't gotten a chance to pick it up and play it on my PC.
Yeah, me too. That's why I got so excited. I even told myself the next time it goes on sale on Steam, I'm going to grab it. But I'll probably hold off on it now because I'm excited to play it on my consoles,
Yeah,
even though I'm
exactly.
sure it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I much prefer to play things on consoles as well. Awesome. So some great game announcements coming, which is a very good thing. And with the announcements of new games, there's always the delay of old games. Sony announced this week that Drive Club, the game that was supposed to be a launch title for the PlayStation 4, that was supposed to be a free-to-play title with a premium version available down the road, which was delayed and delayed and delayed. Sony's announced this week that they have gone back to the drawing board because they want to make Drive Club great. Yeah, so we don't get a driving game on the PlayStation 4. That's a little bit disappointing, but I don't know, Will, what are your thoughts on this story?
Well, I wonder if they watched and took notes from Watchdog last week, and they're like, "Oh, they can delay it because the game wasn't good enough, so let's go ahead and use that excuse as well." I don't get this. I don't really know much of Drive Club. I know it's gotten a fair amount of hype. I just unfortunately don't really understand the concept of it yet.
Yeah, it's like Forza, except it's Forza that has a social aspect, which is maybe similar to like a Burnout,
Mhm.
um, where what was the name of the Burnout where you had the whole island, Burnout Paradise, right? Where you had the whole
Yes.
island you could explore and stuff like that, and you had your own car garage and you could do things like that.
Was that Paradise or was it Test Drive?
There was also Test Drive Unlimited that had
Okay.
something similar to that, but I guess it was kind of like a mixture of all that stuff where it was you could have a club of with your friends that would be like we have all these tuner based vehicles and we're going to race them and this will be our club, but then you could also just play with a friend or you could also just drive around and find random races. It was going to have things that were similar to like a Drivatar on a Forza where you could have races even when you're not around based on how you drive and stuff like that. It sounded really interesting. It sounded like at launch it was going to be very limited in what it would offer, but it was going to be a free to play title, so you would kind of get what you pay for it. Um, but yeah, I guess whatever it wasn't what they wanted it to be, or maybe the fact that they have Gran Turismo on the
Yeah.
console as well. Maybe they're gonna focus all of their efforts on getting the next Gran Turismo out for the PlayStation 4 and not mess around with any other titles.
Well, it's disconcerting to hear going back to the driving board, the drawing
They could
board.
have said driving board.
They could have. Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, they something must have been really wrong if they're kind of scrapping it. I'm sure they're not really scrapping it, but it sounds like they are definitely going back to an early stage to figure some things out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the quotes is what I'll say is that it all comes back to the fundamental principle, and that's that we want to build great games, and we don't really want to release a game before it's ready. And sometimes this happens in the normal course of business, where you think you're on track to deliver what you think is going to be great, but when you get closer, you realize that you're doing everyone a disservice. That's not a direct quote. I kind of change it a little bit in my own words. And another quote was, so I think at PlayStation, perhaps more than other places, we're willing to kind of eat that cost and go back to the drawing board and make sure the game is great before we ship it. And that's what's going on right now with the game. They're saying they're not announcing any specifics on when it's going to launch. They were pressed if it would come out in 2014, and the person they were interviewing refused to say. And then Sony PR jumped in to kind of protect the people and say, "Yeah, we'll let you know more info soon. We don't have anything to announce today." So this could be a really big back to the drawing board, like a Gran Turismo style, like 27-year delay, like what all the Gran Turismo games they're supposed to come out and they come out like 4 years later. I'm hoping that this one won't be that bad because honestly, I kind of want to really play a driving game on my PlayStation 4. I love checking out the latest and greatest driving game when a new console comes out just to see what it looks like.
I mean, there. I think it's although not easy, there. It's one of the easiest genres to make look really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and that's the thing about Drive Club is it was the best looking driving game that had ever come out. or was to ever come out. And now it hasn't. So is that going to change even? The fact that it was free to play for PlayStation Plus members, where you would get a certain percentage of the game and then you buy car packs, kind of similar to what you can do in, say, Forza, except without the purchase of a $60 game, was kind of intriguing to me. It might not insult me so much like when Forza first came out, how you basically had to pay money if you wanted to unlock the best cars, because it would take you forever to get enough stuff to unlock them through normal play. But then at the end of the day, I really don't like paying to play for a lot of these games. I don't feel that I should be ponying up every time I sit down for an hour with a game. So I was a little worried about what that is. Maybe that's part of the drawing board. Maybe they realized that the model that they had for this game just wasn't going to work for a lot of people. But yeah, not really too many other details other than it's gone back to the drawing board, and who knows, maybe it's not even going to be out this year, which would be a shame.
Yeah. Hopefully. It's been one, again, that was announced long ago, and it was expected to be a launch title, and so I know lots of people are looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Do you know what else was announced a long time ago, Will?
What's that?
Hearthstone. That was announced a long time ago, and it came out. It's available right now in beta, so you can just play it, and you could get your beta on and play all the games and have fun. But if you happen to open up your client right now to play it again, it's no longer in beta, which is ridiculous.
Well, it's funny. You and I, we talked. We wondered if like the beta acronym was or not acronym label was going to be like Gmail's beta.
Yeah, exactly, like a Google beta that lasts forever. And the weird thing about this announcement is it was on the 11th of March, so just a few days ago, that basically Blizzard came out and said, "Yep, Hearthstone's officially out of beta." They changed the launch screen. They changed an icon, like a couple things to say, "Yep, it's beta. This is the full version." And that was it. You'd think for a game from Blizzard to come out that it would actually, I don't know, there'd be some announcement, that there'd be some sort of fanfare, there'd be something, there'd be a big press release, there'd be an event. But no, it's just like, it was oh yeah, by the way, this is not in beta anymore. Here, go play it. We're sorry about the lost productivity. And that was it. It was really bizarre.
Well, I wonder if it was because there was so much hype when it was first announced, and then there's a ton of hype in closed beta. In the closed beta, I don't even think there's an NDA, because daily I would have to check to see if it was released, because so many people were talking about it as if it was released, like giving tips and tricks and explaining the rule set and strategies and stuff like that. And then they came out in open beta, and you and I played it a couple times, and honestly, I couldn't tell anything that was beta-y about it.
No, it was pretty solid.
So they probably were just like, they probably just threw it out there, see how it performed, watch some statistics, and they're like, okay, let's just go ahead and do it. And everyone already knows about it, so we don't have to tell them. They're already playing if they're going to be playing.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, let's see how this launches, and we can always go back into beta. I mean, we do enough betas, we can just keep going back into beta. But yeah, so sure enough, it is available. So if you open up your Battle.net client, the version 1.0 patch will come down with the patch notes and all that other fun stuff. They still haven't said when the iPad version will be coming. They say it's coming soon still, which makes me sad, because that is a version that I really want to play, and that will be the version that is kind of a good thing that it's not out, because that one will kind of suck up all of my free time, I think.
Yeah, me too. I hope that this leads to that sooner.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm kind of relieved that it's fully released now, so maybe we'll hear about the iPad. Because like you, I'm waiting to get fully invested until the iPad version comes out, and then life as we know it is over for me.
Just think, you could be playing it on the iPad while playing Titanfall.
Oh man, and I'll be twitching on both when the Twitch SDK comes out.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna have to open multiple Twitch accounts just to do that.
Twitch Inception.
Yeah, you could just Twitch. You could have a video capture card, and then you could video capture both sources, and then have one source in the other source, like picture in picture, and switch back and forth every once in a while. You could do that.
Talk about dichotomy. You have like Volume 11 high intensity first person shooter on one hand, and then can be intense but more laid back card playing game
Yeah.
on the other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like watching a football game while playing cards with your friends at the same time. It would be kind of that same idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hearthstone, it was basically just in open beta for a few months, and now it is available in full release version. Go download it and let us know what you think. All right, cool. Let's get into a couple quick ones. This one was kind of interesting. Last of Us, Naughty Dog announced this week that The Last of Us is officially sold 6 million copies to date.
That's a lot of copies.
6 million. They sold 3.4 million in like the first 2 weeks. And then, so that was between June 14th and July 3rd. And then from July 3rd till now, they've sold basically another 3 million copies of this game. So you think there's going to be a sequel, Will?
I think we can almost guarantee a sequel.
Have you played Last of Us?
I have. I loved it. I still haven't played the DLC. I need to grab that, but loved the game. I mean, it did. It hit everything perfect in so many ways, and I'm a huge Uncharted fan anyway.
Yeah.
This was so different than that, and so much more polished than Uncharted. And I love the Uncharted games, like I said. So that's a good compliment.
Totally. And 6 million sold. I mean, there's the movie announcements. You know there's going to be a sequel, even though the game ended perfectly, where there could or couldn't be a sequel. Just the way it ended, it didn't end on like a cliffhanger of any sorts. They could just tell another story from that world, or they could tell what led up to that world, or they could tell 10 years or 20 years later. There's kind of ultimate freedom with the way that the world was kind of designed. So I guess we'll probably hear more about that. Maybe not this E3, but maybe the next E3.
Now, do you want a sequel? Because I don't. I'll probably play it because it's Naughty Dog, but
I don't want another Joel story. I wouldn't mind more in that world. I don't want any more multiplayer because that seemed like just a huge waste of time and resources, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I want more games that tell stories like that. Like from the start to finish. I want that game. I mean, I want a story in a game like that again. I want to have that experience again. It was pretty damn interesting.
Well, and there's lots of games out there that are survival horrors and scare you. But few games that I've ever experienced actually are depressing and sad. And I mean, when I played that game, I had to like prepare myself because I was like, okay, this is going to be rough. Are you ready to get involved and get sad again?
Yeah, totally. Like the intro just knocked me on my butt. Like playing through the intro section. And I mean, I have kids, so it was even more kind of strong for me to play and sit and experience. And it was just like, holy crap. Okay, if this is how the game started, what is going to happen? Where's it going to go from here? And then, you're on that emotional roller coaster for the whole time playing the game. So if Last of Us 2 means that there's more of that, I'm all for it. If Last of Us 2 is a cheap cash in and you have Joel and Ellie and they're a little bit older, a little bit more gray hair, whatever, I don't really want that. So I don't know. We'll see. I trust Naughty Dog, though. So I'm sure whatever they do, it's going to be in good taste. Cool. All right. And last but not least, this one kind of came out of nowhere. The Respawn CEO, or the CEO of Respawn, Vince Vampella, basically came out and said that we're talking with Aspire, and Aspire's a popular company that ports a lot of games to the Macintosh, and they want to get a version of Titanfall on Mac. And the internet blew up. It's like, but Microsoft has the exclusive on it. It's like, well, no, Microsoft is the exclusive for consoles. It just happened to come out on PCs as well. And and the Mac is just a PC with a different operating system. So I guess they're looking at getting it on another platform. So it'll be available on PC, on the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and maybe the Mac moving forward. That'd be pretty cool. I wonder how it would play on my Mac. First of all, I probably not very well. I have a laptop as my main system, so not known to have good graphics on the Mac side, but I'd probably pick it up just to play it. Although I could probably just pick up the 360 version and play that one as well.
Yeah. Who knows what that's gonna look like?
Yeah, totally.
I like this. I think it's as accessible as we can make the game, especially since it is a console exclusive. The better it is. I've quickly become a fan of the game itself, and they've announced that they're going to have a live action series going on with Titanfall as well. And the backstory is interesting enough. I do want to find out more about it. So as more copies as we can get out there to kind of help propel the franchise forward, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree fully with that. I'm just curious to see when Titanfall 2 is announced and if Microsoft is going to pony up a big cash money hat again and buy exclusivity for the console again. It sounds like Respawn doesn't want that to happen. They want it available for everything, but their publisher will sell exclusivity, I'm sure. What happens if like Sony comes and buys exclusivity for Titanfall 2? Can you imagine that? Like it would just
be funny.
It'd be crazy. I just wish every game was available on every console. But yeah, that obviously isn't the world that we live in.
You're gonna have your infamous second son here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. 1 week today. I'm looking forward to it. Cool. Well, that's going to about do it for the news of the week. What do we say we get into what we've been playing, Will? I know you have a long list of games that you've been playing. So why don't you tell us, Will, what have you been playing?
All right. Well, brace yourself, Lloyd. I don't want to make you feel inferior, but I've been playing Titanfall, and some more Titanfall.
I don't believe you. That's too many games for a week where Titanfall came out. I think you're just playing Titanfall.
I think so. Just Titanfall. Wait, did I say Titanfall? The great thing about this game this week is it held up. Xbox Live went down like you were saying, or like we were saying earlier, but the servers themselves, for the most part, were up. I haven't had a single Xbox One issue. I guess there's been a little issues here and there on the PC side of things. But man, I just got to say, I talked about it a lot on the beta, but this game it's something special. It's I know you said I looked like I was doing pretty good on the system. Well, that's while playing, that's a great thing about this game is anyone can feel like a badass action hero. And that's something that I haven't experienced in a first-person shooter and probably ever. Maybe the original Call of Duties, like Call of Duty on Mac and PC, but that was because I was playing single player. It's everything that I hoped it would be. I even dig the multiplayer campaign they have. That's really cool. And although I have to go through it probably 2 or 3 more times because it's really hard to concentrate on what's happening when you're playing in an open party, the game is it's awesome. And the more I play it, the one thing is actually I kind of like, I've almost max leveled. There's 50 levels, and the progression is a lot quicker than every other first-person shooter I've played in recent years.
Right.
I dig that because I don't want to be constantly grinding. I want to feel like I'm constantly progressing. So now if I want to prestige, they call it generations in the game, then I can do that, and I still have something more to work for, and it's not just that kind of level cap. It's great. I mean, what you watched me a little bit play this week. What is your thoughts on it for someone who hasn't played it? I mean, does it kind of whet your appetite and
yeah. Like we've talked about it before on the show and other shows here on the network. I'm not a huge online shooter fan just because I don't like the cesspool that is a lot of online shooters. It seems to be not that. I've heard a lot of Titanfall with chat. People are running it through video capture cards and stuff, and it doesn't seem to be the same amount of hate and craziness. To me, the thing that I like is it doesn't look like you spawn and immediately die. which is the thing that I always hated. When you jump into a game late, like a month after it came out, you jump in, and then it would be days of you just trying to figure out, okay, well, oh, I'm going to run around this corner. Oh, I died. Okay, well, obviously that's a killing area. I'm going to go a different area. Okay, I'll go behind this building. Yep, not shot. Okay, I'm going to go up to the second floor. Boom. Okay, I was sniped from way over. Okay, so they must be watching this place. And you have to figure out where to not go before you can even figure out how to play the game. Titanfall seems a little bit different because you're so it's so fluid. You can kind of jump up, run up a wall, go somewhere else, drop down. It seems like the levels are big. They have lots of layers, lots of different like there's almost like different games going on in the same level, where some people are trying to take this one base, or there's someone parked a Titan in a building and they set it to remotes and they're hiding in the shadow, or they're hiding cloaked and they're killing people that are trying to get on their Titan and stuff. It just seems like there's a lot of little bits of fun that are happening, and it definitely seems really appealing to me.
Yeah, my favorite thing in the game is playing as a pilot, so just kind of the regular soldier, and just running around the map. And I don't know the maps well enough, and I think it's going to be a long time because the maps are so diverse. And when you just kind of take a glimpse at it, you're like, this is chaos. There's buildings everywhere. I see that, I can jump off that. But then when you can like find a line, you don't really know what you're doing, but you're like, you jump on this wall and then you see this wall over here, you jump on that wall, and oh, that leads you to another wall, and then you just like put this chain together. I'm having the most fun ever, and it's because I went from one map to the other with other end of the map without setting foot on the ground, and I haven't shot anyone. But just feeling how cool that is, because you build this momentum the more you wall run and the more you chain together those movements. And
Right.
but you're also mentioning something really great that I hadn't really thought about, is that the environments are so diverse. You can find spots, like if you're smart and if you don't stay in the open, you could be jumping on walls and stuff that makes you hard to hit. But you're like, okay, I need to get over there. There's my objective, and I see these like 4 buildings between me and it. So I have a few options. I can go straight there on the ground. I can try to wall jump there. I can go on top of the buildings, which is what most people do. Or I can kind of try to find these ways to snake in to the buildings, because I know most people are going to be outside or on top of buildings. And then you can kind of strategically from there choose how you want to expose yourself and shoot other players and let yourself be known.
Yeah, exactly. No, I see that. I see that in like watching you play and watching some others play, that everybody can kind of make their own fun, which is, I don't know. I like that. I got to tell you, when I was at Walmart and I saw the Titanfall bundle there, I was just like, okay, how much trouble would my life start to have if I walked in the door with this? I said I wouldn't buy another console after buying the PS4, but maybe I had a lapse. But yeah, it didn't happen.
That's when you take it apart in your car and leave like the box in there, and each day you bring a new piece. Like one day you bring the power brick, next day you bring a controller.
Yeah. Thankfully my wife isn't that bad, but
Yeah.
she isn't bad at all. When I say that bad, it makes people think that she is some bad. No, she's no bad at all. But yeah, no, I can't justify buying a $500 console for one game. But I was really close, really, really close. I really want to play Titanfall, but I'm gonna have to wait. We'll see. It's tax time, so maybe I'll get a huge refund, and I'll one of my parts of my refund will be buying an Xbox One and Titanfall.
There you go.
Cool. So anything else?
Now that's it for me. What about you? I know you haven't been playing Titanfall, so hopefully your catalog's a little more robust than mine.
Yeah, I've been playing a fair bit. I finished Thief. We talked about it last episode, how I didn't really like it. That's kind of my feeling for it right now. It got better right after the part where I didn't like it. I figured out what I was doing wrong, and I really enjoyed it for a while, and then it got stupid again, and then I liked it again, and then I hated it, and then I got to the end section where I didn't even know was the end section. Like, the story was just so hard to follow, and you're going to one area and then you get this power, but they don't really tell you why or how or that you even have it, and it was just so convoluted. And then I got to the last level, and I beat this guy, come around a corner, and next thing you know, I'm in this battle that I couldn't complete. And I find out later by looking online, I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Well, this is the final boss battle, and there's no boss battles in this game except for the two that are pretty much back to back. And the second one is this person that kind of teleports around, and every time they teleport, they let this like explosion of light, and if you're not behind cover, you die instantly. And you have to collect 3 items from this environment, and every time you collect one of the items, more of these creatures spawn, and they have a very set path. So it was me finding the optimum path through this world. I must have done it about 25 times. I knew exactly the way to go, but for some reason it would just not work, or someone across the area would scream and I would die, even though they shouldn't have been able to hit me from where they were. And it was just like this stupid, buggy, terrible boss battle. Like I was so ready just to turn it off and then not get it. And then I beat it. And it was just, I did the exact same thing I'd done 10 times in a row after 15 times of figuring out the optimum way to go. And after doing it like 10, 15, 20 times, whatever it was, I finally beat it. And I'm like, that's it. I find these 3 things, I hit a button, and it's game over. It's like, oh wow, I'm really glad I spent the last hour trying to get this. It was terrible. The game itself, like the world is so small, and there's so many load screens. Like you're in a small little city. I shouldn't have to load to go from one area to another, but the engine just wasn't powerful enough, or wasn't designed in such a way where that was a possibility. So you're going from area to an area. You'd pick up a quest and it would be on the other side of the map, and okay, there's going to be like 2-3 loads to get from here to there. There's no fast travel. It really wasn't Thief that I remember from way back in the like 486 Pentium days. It wasn't that game. It was a fun game in like some of aspects of it were fun, but all in all, I don't think I could recommend it for people to check it out. When I was chatting with some people at the game store, apparently a bunch of people were coming back to the store trying to return their copies because they were defective, because there were so many bugs. Thankfully, I only had one lockup. My PS4 locked up solid, which was the first time that had happened on my new console. But apparently that's a common thing in this game. So from top to bottom, it was just it was a hot mess. And I'm glad I played it, because now I don't wonder how it is. Yeah. I know it's terrible, but even if it came free on PlayStation Plus, I wouldn't pick it up and play it again.
Oh, that's such a shame for such a beloved franchise.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a game like shooting water arrows and knocking out fire and hiding in the shadows. Like that was so much fun way back in the day. This one, not so much. Definitely not so much. After that, I had picked up Killzone Shadowfall a while ago because I wanted to kind of show off the graphics for a buddy. We played the first couple missions, and then I put it aside because I had some other things to play. But I was like, okay, like Infamous is coming out. There's some other games coming out. I want to beat this one. So I got in and played Killzone Shadowfall. I beat it. It was a lot of fun. The first couple levels were, like I said, really hard for someone that has played shooters since like Wolfenstein way back in the day. Like I've played shooters from where they started to where they are now. This game was designed weirdly where it would tell you kind of what you had to do, but it wouldn't hold your hand to do it, which is not a bad thing. I don't like when games hold your hand too much, but it was not even giving you hints sometimes on where you're going to go. Like a lot of games will have, it'll be an open area, but you'll kind of know where you have to go because of different colors on the wall or the look of things. Like they kind of give you a clue. It's like, oh, okay, this is where I have to go. This game didn't do that in some areas. That said, I played through from start to finish, and I really enjoyed it. Chapter 4, which is the chapter that they showed off at E3, where you're kind of flying through a city, and then it goes from you flying in this helicarrier to basically landing on the top of a building and getting right into it. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, no way this is going to be seamless. It's seamless. The world is huge. It looks unbelievably beautiful. Like it's full 1080p. There's like no jaggies. Like it is the best graphics that I've ever seen in a video game. and that's what I played, and I'm like, holy crap, this isn't a real thing. This isn't a fake thing that they showed off at E3. This is real and live. So I was happy that I experienced that, because this gives me super hope for like next year's games and the year after, like how much better they're going to look than this. And this looks really, really good. Sinister in chat rooms asking how long it took to beat. I'm not really sure, because I split it up over many days, just playing chunks here and there. It wasn't a long campaign, maybe 8 hours. It wasn't like a 12 or 14 hour, maybe somewhere between 6 and 8 hours, I would think. But there's a whole bunch of trophies and stuff that I didn't get, that you get for finding different items and things like that. So you can make it as long as you want, pretty much. But yeah, I played Killzone Shadowfall, had a lot of fun with it. I still haven't played multiplayer. I should do that, because it's sitting right there, and I should just pop it in and play it. I haven't had a chance to do that. I will try to get to that before Infamous comes out. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best shooter I've ever played. It wasn't the worst. It was better than Thief. So I don't know if that really says much, though, because Thief was pretty horrible. But yeah, I'm pretty glad that I played Killzone Shadowfall.
Cool. That looks. I want to play that game. When I get the PlayStation, I'll eventually pick that up, just because I just, like you, the graphics look so pretty, and I just want to experience it for that.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Sinister in the chat room says he played it for a bit, but he felt lost most of the time. Yeah, there's a lot of that in the game. It's a little bit better if you play on easy, because then you don't walk around a corner and get killed. I had to bump down some of the missions to easy to figure out where to go, and then I went and played them on normal a second time. It's a fun game. Definitely worth checking out, Sinister. All right. Yesterday I picked up a copy of South Park: The Stick of Truth. And I'm playing that on my PlayStation 3, and oh my god, if you like South Park, this is an episode of South Park. It's animated like an episode of South Park, which, I mean, it's not that South Park has like the best animation ever, but it's like you're in an actual like 6 hour to 8 hour episode of South Park. It is unbelievable. The humor is there. It's really gross, and it's really inappropriate and all awesome, just like South Park is. Like, I'm a huge fan of South Park from way back when on its first season. I've been watching it ever since, and this is the game that I wanted out of South Park. I'm not through the game yet. I'm only past the first day in the game, so I don't know if that's like 1/3 or 1/4 of the way through the game, but it is really, 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 really good. If you even kind of like South Park, you love that humor, this is worth checking out just to see how it plays, because it is, like I said, you're playing a turn-based, or you're playing an RPG with turn-based combat, but you're in an episode of South Park, and it's perfectly fluid. Cartman goes from making fun of you, calling you douchebag, to you getting in a battle, to you finding stuff on the body, to you changing your costume, and it works so well, and I'm really glad that this game came out. So if you like South Park at all, this is a game that you have to do. Awesome. Definitely have to go check out.
I haven't played it, but I watched a ton of it on Twitch the day it was released, and oh my gosh, that was a fun game to watch on Twitch, because it, like you said, it was like watching a TV show.
Well, Kara, my wife, came down and she was watching me play for the first couple hours, and we were just sitting there pausing the game because we were laughing so hard in some areas. Like, it is just so funny. I love that kind of humor, and I was just like, my side hurt. I was laughing so hard in some areas. So it's a lot of fun. I'm actually going to play a little bit after we record here tonight, and maybe do a couple more quests and things, but it's really cool. It's designed a lot like last year there was a couple episodes where Cartman was like the White Wizard from Lord of the Rings, and there's some Game of Thrones stuff thrown in, and some other stuff, and they had this big epic quest, and the game is actually originally supposed to come out at that time, so it would have been like the perfect thing. You watch these 2 episodes, then you play the game the following week, and then it got delayed because of THQ being like going bankrupt and selling their stuff out. They were able to salvage it. Ubisoft did a really good job. I'm glad that Matt and Trey were really involved with it. It's fully voice acted by all the voice actors on the series. There's little items and things from the first episode. Like if you've watched all the episodes, you'll see little things. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that Voltron looking thing from this episode. Or yeah, here's the guy that has Brian Botana as a leg, or like all the stuff from way back in the day. There's like Mr. Slave and like all these like crazy characters that you remember from watching all the series. They're in the game, and they even have parts like you could be I think it's Mr. Chow, that owns a Chinese food restaurant. He always hates the Mongolians, and there's a battle with Mongolians, and it's just like, oh my god, this is like I'm inside South Park right now. This is amazing. So yeah, definitely check it out if you like South Park at all. And then last but not least, I finally popped my copy of Bravely Default in, and I'm about 20 hours into the game. I'm on chapter 3. There's 4 main chapters and then some other chapters after. So I'm not even halfway through the game. This game is huge. It's awesome. It's the best Japanese RPG that I've played since, we'll say, Final Fantasy VII and Ni no Kuni. Those are kind of my favorites that have come out in the last little while. If you have a 3DS and you like RPGs, you need this game right now. Like, just don't even listen to what I say. Just go out and pick it up. It is amazing. The voice acting is great. The story is great. But the best part about this game is you can make it as easy as you want. You can make it as quick as you want, or you can take your time with it. So what you can do with the game is it has random battles. So you're walking in the overworld and you'll just get into a random battle. That's how you level up in most of these JRPGs. You're basically you need to go up a couple levels before a boss battle. So you're basically sitting there and you're walking in circles. You're doing fun things, but they're not really fun. And you get in a couple battles and you level up, yada, yada, yada. In this game, you can actually turn your encounter rate up and down whenever you want. So you could say increase your encounter rate up to 200%. So it's super quick to get into these random battles. Or if you're bleeding out of every orifice and all your guys are dead except for one and you have to get back to town to resurrect, you can basically turn your encounters down to 0 and you'll never get a random encounter.
That's awesome.
And you can do that on the fly. You can turn the difficulty up and down on the fly. But probably the best thing is you can fast forward all of the battles. So when you're in a battle, you can hit right on the D-pad, and it goes from normal speed to twice as fast to 3 times as fast to 4 times as fast.
Wow.
And then you can go into auto battle where you basically do your moves. So say if you're fighting with your fighters and you're healing with your healer and you're casting a spell with your mage, you do that, and then after you've started those actions, you hit Y to go into auto, and then it will just keep doing the exact same things that you've done. So you could say, okay, I want to level up. I want to go up 3 levels. I'm fighting these types of creatures. So you say, okay, I'm going to attack with this guy, attack with that guy, cast lightning with this guy, with this girl, and then heal with this girl. Set that all up, put it on fast forward, put your encounter rate up to 200%, and then just sit there and you're leveling up fast, which takes the tedium out of Japanese RPG, where I can remember spending 8 hours one weekend playing Final Fantasy, leveling up Final Fantasy VII, because I needed to level up so I could get this thing, so I could eventually get Knights of the Round, so that I can do this, so I could then go and breed my black chocobo, and like you're doing all this stuff, but it took forever. Now you're doing that same type of thing in Bravely Default, but they've taken a lot of the wasted time out of it. So good, so good. Like I said, favorite RPG that I've played in forever. I'm just so impressed with this game. So go buy it if you like RPGs, and you won't you won't hate it. It is like I said, the best RPG that I've played in forever. And I love Ni no Kuni, and I loved all the way back to the Final Fantasies, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, those types of games. This is, to me, better than all those. I'm just having a lot more fun watching the story progress and playing and just enjoying it. So definitely check that one out. All right. I think that's it, man. I talked for a very long time there about what I've been playing. I guess I've been playing a lot of video games this last week.
Well, that's good, though.
I guess so.
Hey, and you're actually completing some, so not all is lost. I mean, out of all those you mentioned, you beat 2 of them. That's not a bad ratio.
Yeah, I did beat 2 of them. I've been keeping my spreadsheet going with all the games that I've started and finished and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. I started that last year. If people in the show don't know, I'm keeping track of all the games that I start and finish, just so I have an idea of all the games that I've played in a year. And I'm on track this year to last year, which is kind of weird because I didn't play that much in like January because I was playing Minecraft pretty much. That was the only game I was ever playing. So I thought I'd be way behind on my games played this year. But it turns out that I'm kind of on track. So that's kind of cool too. All right, man. I think that's going to about do it for this episode unless you have anything else to offer.
No, I think I'm
the
good.
Listeners at home, you're good? All right, well, I'll let Will go so he can go play some Titanfall. I'm going to go play some South Park Stick of Truth. But why don't you let us know what you guys are playing? Head on over to vgpodcast.com. Let us know what you think there. You can click contact us at the top of the page. You can email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com. Or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505-VG-Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to our Twitch channel. That's twitch.com/VGPod. Both myself and Will are going to be streaming there often. I stream there whenever I'm playing a game on my PlayStation 4. I just try to stream. I know Will is doing Titanfall once a week and maybe some more times a week if I can convince him to do that as well. So we're going to try to get a lot of stuff there on that channel. And we'd love to have you guys show up and interact with us while we're playing games and build a small little community there as well over at twitch.tv/VGPod. All right, well.
Awesome.
That's going to about do it.
Good show.
I thought you were going to say something there. So I was taking a pause because I know I've been talking a lot.
No, it's that NyQuil is calling my name, actually.
All right. Well, I'll let Will go so he can either play Titanfall or go into a coma or do both. Maybe he'll go into Titanfall coma. Titanfall coma would be good. Can you imagine playing Titanfall on NyQuil? That would be pretty crazy, man.
My gosh, I don't know. I saw you do one of these shows when you were taking some cold medicine one, and you held it together then, but you also weren't trying to get headshots.
That's true. That is very, very true. I'm very curious to see how this is going to turn out for you, Will. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for coming out, for all the people that are here on the live stream. For everybody that's been subscribing to DeREZD, we love that you guys are enjoying the show. Tell a couple friends about the show. Get them to download it on their iPod, listening device, Zune, Android, iPhone, whatever it is, whatever they listen to MP3s on. Tell them about the DeREZD podcast so they can listen to it as well. We're available on Stitcher. We're in all the major podcast libraries of whatever. I can't even talk now. We're available wherever podcasts are, so you can find us there and listen to us. And we'd love it if you told a couple people so they could listen to us as well.
Please do help us grow the show and the network.
Exactly. All right, everybody, you take it easy. Have a great week. Get out there and follow those Titans and get ready for Infamous Second Son, available in 7 days from when we're recording this. I'm super stoked. Actually, it's going to be tough for me to do next Friday's show because I'm going to have it in my hands and I'll be staring at it. Maybe I'll be playing it on my Vita on my PlayStation 4 while we're doing the show because I can do that with the PlayStation 4. I can play it while I'm on the Vita. So,
that'd be epic.
So you're gonna have to do the lion's share of next week's show, I think. Will.
That's all right. I'll just make fun of you until you realize what's happening and put your Vita down and to talk with us.
Exactly. So it's like every other week, essentially, is what it's gonna be like next
week. Damn, I didn't know you realized. I was keeping it kind of undercover.
Awesome. All right, everybody. You take it easy. I hope you enjoyed DeREZD episode number 7. We'll talk to you in about 7 days. Take it easy.
Bye.